You don't want to be every time, no. I would like to personally welcome you to Man Hour After Dark. Say that thing. Why I bring you the host, Mike, Buck, and Cone. You know who coming to the stage. Sports talk than what you about to hear right here. I second that. Go. You know that it's us when we talking about sports. Giving you facts on the field to the court. Tune in, we need the support. 1 hour too short, then listen some more. On all your stations, not dropping no music. Starts like Adidas, but Nike just do it. Down 4 in the 4th, we go for the win. Michael 2 seconds, we taking it in. Buck, Mike, and Combs. You know what's going on. Man, now we're after dark, no LA. We the big spark. No 4th and inches won't cut you short. Got the best talking, it's all sports. Buzzing more than buzzer beaters. We coming live all through your speakers. Go.
We're going to dive in the way too early win-loss predictions for the San Francisco 49ers heading into the 2025 NFL season. Now, the question right off the bat is, can they run it back as NFC contenders, meeting the San Francisco 49ers, or is the window closing in the Bay? We're breaking down every matchup, every trap game, and we could define this season right here, right now, May 21st, 2025. But let's not waste any time. Guys. Let's run through the schedule like I'm going to run through John's mom here in a little bit. I'm slowing down, baby. I'm slowing down, John. But week number 1, guys, the San Francisco 49ers open up on the road at the Seattle Seahawks, and this is a loss. Right out of the gate, I see the 49ers getting tested in a hostile environment. Seattle's got a tough defense. They got the new momentum with Sam Darnold and the rest of that crew. No more DK Metcalf. Cooper Kupp is insert in there. I got this as a wake-up loss for the San Francisco 49ers week 1, transitioning us into a nice little week 2 through week 8 saga here, where they start off the winning streak with the New Orleans Saints. They bounce back strong at home. The Saints are still figuring out the whole quarterback situation come week 2, and the 49ers defense is going to smother the Saints come week 2. That is a win. And then week number 3, they travel to Arizona, yet another divisional game early in the season. This is another win. Now, the Cardinals are young and they are rebuilding, but the San Francisco 49ers take care of business come week 3. I like it. And then week number 4, they're back at home. Jacksonville Jaguars. This is another dub. This is 3 wins in a row. First segment of the season. They started the season 3-1. Now, the Jacksonville Jaguars, guys, they got weapons. But the 49ers at home with this defense that they have, I like the matchup, especially in the trenches, and bada bing, bada boom. It's a bad baby. They whoop that ass. Now, the first quarter of the season, guys, the key takeaways from the San Francisco 49ers team is they will struggle come week 1. They will figure out how to work themselves without Brandon Ayuk, right? Or sorry, Debo, right? They will figure out themselves quickly that they need to run the ball a lot. And then I do think the Niners will start to a 3-1 start as they do get locked in after this first quarter of the season, transitioning into week number 5. Week number 5 through 8, guys, this is where the bread and butter of the San Francisco 49ers season is going to take place. This could either make or break their season. Week 5, 6, 7, and 8. They play the Rams, Buccaneers, the Falcons, and the Houston Texans. Now, starting off that week number 1, they do travel to LA to take on the LA Rams. McVay versus Shanahan, this is always fun and is a fun watch, but the 49ers are just more complete team as of right now. Do not get it twisted. I do think the Rams are a very, very good team, But come week 5, I think the 49ers do outlast the LA Rams in this week 5 win, transversing us into week number 6. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think they're going to be struggling at this point of the season, and I think the defense will eat them alive. The 49ers defense and Fred Warner, just like my man, Old Man Rivers said, Fred Warner just signed a huge contract. You're absolutely right. I think they're going to smother the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at home this week 6. Give me that dub. And then week number 7, they travel across the United States of America from the West Coast to the East Coast. This could be a trap game. Do not get it twisted, but the Atlanta Falcons, right? But I think the San Francisco stays focused, and they squeezed out a 1 on the road, beating the Atlanta Falcons. And this has given us 6 straight wins yet on the season. Then come week number 8, back at home, take on a very, very good Houston Texans team, a very, very talented Houston Texans team. But I like the San Francisco 49ers in this game. I think the 49ers beat the Texans at home come week 1. I think the 49ers will out-physical them, and they will out-scheme them, and they will out-baby back bitch them, right? They're going to whoop that ass. So the key takeaways, guys, from this second quarter of the NFL season is they're currently on a 6-game winning streak. They're going to be heading into the month of November hot, 7-1. They are going to be hot, and they're going to be cooking. But come weeks 9 through 13, here comes a reality check. Here comes a reality check. Come crash back down to reality, San Francisco 49ers, and understand that this is not a sprint. This is a marathon. This is a war of attrition. And when they travel back across the United States, back to the East Coast to take on the New York Giants, come week number 1, this is a trap game alert. Sound the alarms. This is a tough game. Traveling east, cold weather, and the Giants are sneakily pretty good. I think this is their second loss of the season to the New York Football Giants. And then come week number 10, they're back at home. They just got beat down by the New York Giants. They got out-physical. They got out-skilled. They got everything by the New York Giants. They're pissed off. They're ready to take on the LA Rams at home in this divisional game, and this is a one-sided game. I think the 49ers come out there week 10 and show the LA Rams that they are for real, and they sweep the division, beating the LA Rams come week 10. Then week number 11, they're back at home. Fresh off of that hangover win over the LA Rams, this one is going to surprise a lot of people, right? Right now, they're sitting at 8-2 on the season. The Arizona Cardinals, guys, they are a good team. Arizona catches the San Francisco 49ers slipping in week 11. This is where divisional games get weird, and I think the Arizona Cardinals pull out the win on the road versus the San Francisco 49ers, giving the San Francisco 49ers their third loss of the season. But then come week 12. Week 12, they're back at home again, battling a still rebuilding Carolina Panthers team. This is a no contest. This is a shut them up, put them up, dry, put them away wet type of game. Christian McCaffrey loves to play his old team. He is going to go off. This is a no contest at the end of the day. The 49ers win this game easily. And then week 13, lucky number 13. This is a tough one because they travel to Cleveland. It's cold. It's going to be nasty. And the Cleveland defense is sneakily pretty good. It is a slugfest, but the Niners fall short, losing to the Cleveland Browns week number 13. So the third quarter of the season, right now they're 10-3, heading into the bye week. A great record, but the cracks are starting to show. Do not get it twisted. There are cracks in the foundation in San Francisco as of right now. Now the final push, weeks 14 through 18. Of course, they do have a week 14 bye. It is perfect timing. The cracks are there, a little rest before the playoff push, and maybe they can put some plastic putter on these facts of the foundation, and they can actually make a deep run, and I think they do. I think week 15, they travel to Nashville, and they beat the Titans. The Titans might be scrappy, but the 49ers are just more talented across the board. Quarterback position, running back position, wide receivers, offensive line, defense. The 49ers just outwill them at the end of the day. And then week number 16, they're back at home. Now, the Colts may have a young, developing quarterback. Maybe they have Daniel Jones playing. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter the advantage San Francisco 49ers come week 16 at home versus the Indianapolis Colts. And then week 17, the Bears could be dangerous, but not enough to come into Levi Stadium and win week 17. Too much San Francisco 49ers come week 17. And then come week 18, they avenge the week 1 loss and they beat down the Seattle Seahawks and locking up a playoff seed. Now, they do close the season, guys, off with 4 straight wins. And I think the San Francisco 49ers do finish 14-3. Is that enough to win the NFC Championship? We will see. I think some of the key wins this season are going to be over the Jaguars, over the Texans, and of course over the Seattle Seahawks come week 18, and then of course the sweeping of the LA Rams. 3 trap games to look for: the Giants, the Cardinals, and of course the Cleveland Browns. So the overall outlook in my prediction for the San Francisco 49ers in the 2024 NFL season is Brock Purdy or whoever is underneath center. Yes, we know that Brock Purdy got those dollar Bills job, but we know he has health issues. They will have the protection and the weapons, right? McCaffrey, Kittle, and Debo. If they all stay healthy, they are going to be a top 5 scoring offense in the NFL. Top tier defense on the front 7, elite linebacker play, and enough depth in the secondary, guys. They're still a championship caliber team. My major concerns for the San Francisco 49ers going into the 2025 NFL season is, can they stay healthy? Can they stay healthy in the second half of the season? That's the biggest question. Can they stay healthy? Can they win those close games? And can they overcome cold weather environments? So, guys, in the comments below, do the 49ers have the best roster in the NFC West? All right, guys, so the number 1 overall seed in the NFC playoff picture, they do get the first round bye. This is San Francisco 49ers. So heading into the second seed, guys, this is a team that is here because they just could not win a couple big games down the stretch. Sitting 13-4 are the Philadelphia Eagles. Of course, they are tied record-wise with the San Francisco 49ers, but the San Francisco 49ers got the tiebreaker because of the strength of schedule and wins over similar opponents. So coming in at the second seed, we do have the Philadelphia Eagles, guys. Let's see how they got here. As the Philadelphia Eagles just weren't flying in 2024, they soared all the way to the Super Bowl championship, baby! And after a rocky start to an epic finish, this team answered every question and silenced all the doubters in 2024. Jalen Hurts, the offensive weapons, and the defense, and head coach Nick Sirianni all came together to deliver a Phillies long-awaited a title, right? They're back on top. But is 2025 a repeat, or are they just a little overhyped? Let's break down the way too early win-loss prediction for the 2025 Philadelphia Eagles. And guys, they get tested right off the bat. The first 4 weeks of the NFL season, the NFL schedule maker said, you know what? We're going to make the Philadelphia Eagles a 2-2 team. We are going to make the Philadelphia Eagles potentially a losing team going into week 5. We do not want any 11-0 fall off like they did the last time they won the Super Bowl. We want to see them lose early, and that's exactly what they did. Week 1, they're opening the NFL season September 4th versus the Dallas Cowboys, right? And this is a tough season opener. This is a rough one because the Dallas Cowboys do come to town and they beat the Philadelphia Eagles. A tough loss for the new look Dallas Cowboys on their home turf. It is a tough loss. And then week number 2, they travel to Arrowhead Stadium. Yet a Super Bowl rematch week 2. So you play a Super Bowl team and the Dallas Cowboys, then you play the Chiefs, and then you play the Rams and the Broncos. The schedule makers did not like the Philadelphia Eagles. Let's just be flat out honest. But the Eagles do go into Kansas City, and they get a bounce-back win, a huge win over the Kansas City Chiefs. Beating Mahomes on the road is a statement game, a statement win for the Philadelphia Eagles moving forward. And then week number 3, they're back at home taking on the LA Rams, a team that they just played less than 6 months ago, right? The Eagles defense dominates the LA Rams. Matthew Stafford, Devontae Adams, Puka, it doesn't matter. The Rams are getting licked in Philly. Let's just be honest. But then week number 4, they travel to Tampa. I said this last year, and I'll keep on saying it until they prove me otherwise. The Philadelphia Eagles do not want to play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And week number 4 proves that the Philadelphia Eagles do not want to play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Some people might call this a trap game, but whatever it is, Philly struggles to find rhythm in Tampa, and they lose the Tampa Bay Buccaneers going into week 4. So, starting off the season, heading into week 5, guys, they are 2-2. Early inconsistency, but flashes of greatness. The stage is being set. The stage is being set for a very, very complete rest of the season. And that's exactly what they do. They start winning a lot of games. Week number 5, the defense clamps down and offense explodes for a solid win over the Denver Broncos. Then week number 6, they're on the road taking on the New York Football Giants, road dominance over the Giants. This gives Philly a confidence boost to make a nice long playoff run and potentially not lose a game for the rest of the season. But I spoke too soon, right? A tough loss on a short week to the Minnesota Vikings, but valuable lessons learned. They travel to Minnesota and they lose a Thursday night game. And then week 8, they're back at home. They play back-to-back games. The Giants twice in 3 weeks, which is stupid, but hey, we digress here, right? They complete the sweep of the divisional rival, the New York Football Giants, as Philly shows growth and shows back on track heading into the bye week 5-3. Now, guys, the Eagles were a team to watch. They are putting together key wins, and despite a couple of setbacks to the Cowboys and the Vikings, they have learned a lot of lessons, and they're going to use those lessons moving forward. And this is where they get their turning point. This is where the Eagles start to click yet again. After a bye week, they travel to Green Bay, and they beat down the Packers. Tough crowd, potentially cold weather. It doesn't really matter. Guys, the Phillies pull out a gritty win, and they're grittying all the way into the end zone many, many times in this game. And then week number 11, they're back at home, take on the Detroit Lions. Playoff implications start to feel real as the Eagles handle the Detroit Lions. They actually beat down the Detroit Lions. Then week number 12, they travel to Dallas, and they get revenge at Jerry World. It is a statement win that sent a message to the rest of the NFL that the Philadelphias are here to stay. Now, week 13, they're back at home, taking on the Chicago Bears. They continue to roll over the Bears, and they're a team on a mission. They are 9-3 at this point. This stretch was the catalyst, right? The Eagles clicked on all cylinders and became a legitimate Super Bowl contender yet again. And this is where they make their championship run. Week 14, they travel to LA to take on the Chargers. No signs of slowing down. They roll over the Chargers. Week 15, they're back at home to take on the Raiders. Yet another win. The engine keeps on rolling. They keep on rolling, and they are hot. Week 16, they stumble a little bit versus the Commanders, and they lose the Commanders at Washington, D.C., but they stay focused, and they recalibrate, and they go into week 17, and they go into Buffalo, New York, and they beat down the Buffalo Bills. Now, I think the reason why they beat down the Buffalo Bills is because the Buffalo Bills would potentially be resting the starters at this particular point, but the Philadelphia Eagles look to take advantage and secure a vital win going into week 17. And then week 18, they're back at home, taking on the Washington Commanders, and they get the revenge win, the final regular season game with the win that locked up home field advantage for the playoffs. That's right, the number 1 overall seed for the Philadelphia Eagles, 13-4. And then the Eagles went on a tear, and the playoffs winning the NFC Championship. Slow it down, Buck. Slow it down, right? Slow it down. But guys, do you guys think that the 2025 Eagles will kick off a new era in dominance of the NFC East? Or are they crashing back down to reality? All right, so the second seed are the Philadelphia Eagles sitting at 13-4, and that brings us to the next seed, the third seed, the one and only Detroit Lions, coming in at 11-6. Now, I do think that their record will reflect that they have, quote, a down year from their 15 wins the previous couple seasons, right? But do not get it twisted. The Detroit Lions are still a really, really good team. They just play a hell of a lot tougher schedule than they have in the last couple seasons. But they are sitting at 11-6, sitting in firmly in the third seed. But let's recap of how they got to this point. Move on to the Detroit Lions, guys. And the Detroit Lions are no longer the feel-good story. They are no longer the Cinderella story. They are no longer the team that wish was everybody. Guys, they are seriously contenders now. When you look at the Detroit Lions, guys, they are contenders. After back-to-back playoff appearances and that core staying mostly intact, expectations, guys, are sky high for Dan Campbell's squad. But the 2025 NFL schedule is no joke. There are trap games, primetime tests, and powerhouse opponents all lined up. So tonight, guys, we're diving into the way too early win-loss prediction for the Detroit Lions 2025 NFL season. So, guys, let's hit every key matchup, every pick, and find out if whether or not this Detroit Lions team is going to make a step forward and repeat in the NFC North, or have they already hit their ceiling. And, guys, I think they have hit their ceiling. I think they've hit their ceiling, and they get battle-tested early. One of the toughest tests of the seasons come out in week 1 when they travel to Lambeau Field to take on the Green Bay Packers. Guys, this rivalry has a new energy, and the Packers are getting better and better and better, Super Bowl better, and the Detroit Lions are even good as well. But the Detroit Lions lose at Lambeau. A tough pace of play, especially week 1, the Lions start 0-1. And then week number 2, they're back at home. Detroit Lions rebound with the divisional statement at home. Jared Goff gets into rhythm early, and the defense makes Caleb Williams uncomfortable. The Lions even things up at 1-1. Week number 3, they travel to Baltimore. Baltimore is brutal at home, and Lamar Jackson just does not lose to NFC teams. I don't know what it is, but Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens have the numbers for the NFC teams, and Lamar Jackson mobility gives the Lions front 7 problems. The Detroit Lions dropped to 1-2 on the season. But then it gets a little bit easier. This one's gritty at home, but the Lions impose their will at the line of scrimmage, and they outlast the Browns in a physical battle, moving to 2-2 on the season. So a back and forth first month, guys, right? Sitting at 2-2, the Detroit Lions have shown flashes, but also the burden of expectations. The key, they've weathered some top-tier opponents, the Packers, the Ravens, and they have yet to hit their stride. Let's just be honest about it. And week number 5, they start to hit their stride. They hit their stride at Cincinnati when they go on the road to take on Joe Burrow and the Bengals. The Lions make a statement here. This is where the defense truly arrives. Huge road win for the Lions. And then week number 6, they play the best team in the NFL at the best stadium in the NFL, the one and only Kansas City Chiefs at Arrowhead Stadium, and the Detroit Lions stuns Arrowhead again. Jared Goff picks apart the secondary, and the defense holds up just enough. The Lions win back-to-back AFC showdowns and move to 4-2 on the season. And then week number 7, they're back at home on Monday Night Football to take on the one and only Tampa Bay Buccaneers. All eyes are watching this game. This is where the Detroit Lions look like a complete team heading into the bye week, and they dominate the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Monday Night Football. Now, week 8 is their bye week. So after a slow start, guys, the Detroit Lions catch fire. With wins over Cincinnati, the Kansas City Chiefs, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have them rolling. They have confidence and they have swagger. And at 5-2, this team is climbing, looking like a Super Bowl caliber team. And then they continue to dominate. They continue to dominate because coming into week 9, they play the Minnesota Vikings at home, putting a clinic in all 3 phases of the game. Special teams, defense, gambling, offense, whatever, it doesn't matter. The Vikings lose by 30. Then week number 10, revenge. They travel to Washington, D.C. to take on the Commanders. This one's a little bit closer than expected, but Dan Campbell has the team focused post-bye, and the Lions survive a road trip and that trap game, and they get the revenge from the playoff loss. But week number 11, they're back on the road, taking on the Philadelphia Eagles. The Lions run into a buzzsaw in Philly. Hurts and the Eagles have too much at home. Detroit Lions fall to 7-3. Week number 12, a nice little bounce back win when they play the New York Football Giants at home. The offense gets rolling again, and the defense puts a clamp on the Giants, moving them to 8-3 on the season. And then week 13, they're back at home Thanksgiving Day to play the Green Bay Packers. This one means everything. National stage, holiday spotlight, revenge from week 1. The Lions send a message and improve to 9-3 on the record. So, guys, the Detroit Lions own November with key wins over the Vikings and Packers to take control of the NFC North and putting themselves firmly in playoff seeding territory at 9-3. But this is where the wheels start to fall off the wagon. This is where they start to realize that they are not as good as they once was. In week 14, they play another Thursday night game, this time versus the Dallas Cowboys. A tough opponent, matter of fact, a great opponent, a Super Bowl caliber opponent, and the Dallas Cowboys pull this one out late, giving the Detroit Lions their 4th loss of the season. And then week 15, they travel to LA to take on the Los Angeles Rams. This is a great matchup. Jared Goff versus Matthew Stafford, the trade, the whatever, yada, yada, yada. The Rams offense outpaces the Detroit Lions. Back-to-back losses put pressure on the final stretch, giving the Lions the 5th loss of the season. Now, all they got to do is win 2 of their next 3 to firmly lock in a playoff spot. Let's see what they do. Week 16, they're at home taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the Detroit Lions get right at home. This is a physical slugfest, but the Detroit Lions ground and pound their way to 10-5. And then week 17 at Minnesota Vikings. Short work week, another Thursday night game, the 3rd Thursday night game in 5 games. This is a recipe for a late down. And the Minnesota Vikings get the revenge and handle the Detroit Lions their 6th loss of the season. And then week number 18, all the playoff implications are on the line when they play the Chicago Bears, and the Lions show up ready, and they close out the season strong in Chicago, finishing 11-6. A rocky final month of the season, but the Detroit Lions show poise, finishing out the season and potentially winning the NFC North yet again. They finished the regular season as the NFC's most balanced teams. Not perfect, but battle-tested. So, guys, those are my way too early predictions for the 2025 Detroit Lions. 11 wins, 6 losses. That is good enough to stay in the playoff hunt, potentially winning the NFC North again, and definitely scary to whoever faces them in January. The question now is if the Lions are good and if they're good enough to win it when it counts, because last year they were not. So, all right, guys, once again, the 3rd seed are the Detroit Lions sitting at 11-6. Then we got the NFC South winners, and that is the one and only Tampa Bay Buccaneers. As just like the Lions, guys, they do have a tough schedule, and I do think they finished 9-8, but do not sleep on them. They are a tough out into the playoffs, especially playing at home as the 4th overall seed. So let's recap of how they got to this point. Baker Mayfield is still the guy in Tampa, guys. No quarterback was taken in the draft, and the Bucs made it clear that they're riding with this core for at least one more season. So what does this mean for the 2025 NFL season for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Let's break it down in the way too early win-loss prediction for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and walk through each in 4 key phases. Guys, the reason why we break the NFL season down into 4 key phases is because if you win first 4 weeks, if you're a winning team, then a winning team in the second part, third part, fourth part, you will be a winning team in the end. That's just the way we always do it. That's even how we do it in the high school and college ranks as well. But weeks 1 through 4, they are starting hot in the South. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, guys, host the Atlanta Falcons, a divisional game which always brings the heat, but Baker Mayfield gets it done. Home in front of the home crowd. Week number 1, they beat the Falcons, start off the season 1-0. Week number 2, the Houston Texans come to town. CJ Stroud enter in his 3rd year, and he carves up the Bucs secondary. That's right, guys. I am buying the Houston Texans of what they're doing, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers fall to 1-1 on the season. And then week number 3, they're hosting the New York Football Jets. This will be a very defensive-heavy game, but Tampa wins it late with better quarterback play in Baker Mayfield. Baker freaking Mayfield, baby. Jack him off, baby. They're 2-1 going into week number 4. And then week number 4, they do have yet another home game, this time against the Philadelphia Eagles. Guys, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers own the Philadelphia Eagles as of late. The last 2, 3, 4 seasons, the Buccaneers versus the Eagles, the Bucs always come out on top. And I think Baker Mayfield outguns Philly in a surprising shootout win. I think this is a 34-30 type of game, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers moved to 3-1 for the first month of the season. So the first 4 weeks of the season, guys, I have them starting 3-1. A nice, strong start, and the Buccaneers look like a legit NFC South contenders, right? Hell, you can even put them as a legit NFC contenders at this particular point. But we still have a long, long season, and this mid-season slide, weeks 5 through 8, is when everything starts crumbling down. Now, week number 5, they have a long trip to Seattle. The Sam Darnold is in control, and that newness is still is still happening, and we're still trying to figure out exactly who the Seahawks are, and the Seahawks pull it out. the loss for the Buccaneers, moving them to 3-2 on the season. And then week number 6, they even have another tough test on the road yet again versus the San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers, I think, are going to be a very, very good team that defense feast on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, moving them to 3-3 on the season. Now, week number 7, they're back at home, finally, much needed home cooking, but guess who comes into town? The one and only Jared Goff and the Detroit Lions. Guys, Jared Goff and the Detroit offense stays rolling, and yet another loss for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in this mid-season slide, giving them 3 losses in a row, moving them to 3-4 on the season. Week number 8, they're back on the road, taking on a Saints team. And the Saints always bring the heat in the dome. Another loss for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 4 losses in a row, moving them to 3-5 heading into the break. Now, that early momentum stalls, 3-5 heading into the bye week, and the questions start to rise about the consistency on both sides of the ball. Does Mike Evans still have it? Is Chris Godwin back 100%? Why is Baker Mayfield playing so bad? But the bye week come at a perfect time, and weeks 9 through 13, they have some regrouping and some regaining control. So week 9, they do have the bye week, much needed. And then week number 10, they're back at home versus the New England Patriots. The Patriots are going to be a sneakily good team, but the Bucs get back on track with a solid win that makes them 4-5 on the season. But then week 11, they're back on the road, taking on the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen lights it up, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers do drop to 4-6. Week 12, they're back on the road yet again, this time in LA versus the LA Rams. A tough matchup, and it shows the Bucs fall to 4-7. But week 13, they finally get back at home. They get a little bit easier of a game. Back at home, take on the Arizona Cardinals, and they take care of business, and they win. They're now 5-7 on the season. So after 12 games, they are 5-7. They're still alive in a wide open NFC South, but the margin of error is now gone. They need to finish strong, and they need to sweep the remaining games, and that's exactly what they do come week 14 through 18. They finish strong in the division. That's all that matters. Getting into the playoffs and getting that home playoff game. Week 14, they have a big-time rematch versus the New Orleans Saints. This time, the Bucs take it. Baker Mayfield plays cleaner, smarter football, moving them to 6-7 on the season. Week 15, they down to Atlanta. The Falcons are already fading, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers get the sweep of the Falcons, moving them to 7-7 on the season, back to 500 where they belong. And then week 16, the Panthers are back on the road, taking on the Carolina Panthers. This one, however, slips away late. The Carolina Panthers grind out win. The Bucs fall to 7-8 on the season. Now, week 17, the Dolphins come to Tampa. It is a big test, but somehow, some way, the Buccaneers pull the upset. Mike Evans and Baker Mayfield even show out. 5 touchdowns, maybe 8-8 on the season. And then week 18, final game of the season, they're finally back at home to take on the Carolina Panthers, but the rematch goes to Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They finished 9-8 on the season. So, guys, I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this season are going to be a good team, but not a dominant team. They are going to be a good team, but not a gritty one. If the NFC South stays wide open, which I think it will, 9 wins will be enough to win that division and make that playoff push, right? They have no rookie quarterback drama. They have no major scheme overhaul, just a veteran team grinding out and hoping that Baker Mayfield keeps the fire alive. So, guys, let me ask the questions down below. Do you believe Baker Mayfield can lead this team back to the playoffs, or the Bucs just delaying the rebuild? All right, guys, so we do have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers coming in at the 4th overall seed, coming in at 9-8. Now, let's jump into these wild card games, or these wild card teams, right? They're coming in the 5th seed, 13-4, the LA Rams. If they can just beat the San Francisco 49ers once in the regular season, just once, they could have easily been the number 1 overall seed. But they couldn't do it, and right now, this is how the playoffs are going to play out. We have arguably one of the best teams in the NFL, in the NFC, especially playing on a road game as the 5th overall seed. But let's recap of how they got to the 5th overall seed. To the LA Rams. Let's talk about the team that quite frankly quite quietly reloaded and might be flying under the radar, and that is the Los Angeles Rams. Buck, take it back. They're not flying under the radar, guys. The LA Rams are a damn good team. Period, point blank and simple. They're not flying under anybody's radar whatsoever. They have reloaded and they're ready to win a lot of games in 2024. But we're going to go through the way too early win-loss predictions for Sean McVay's squad in 2025. And spoiler alert, guys, this team is better than people expect. This team is great. This team is destined for greatness. This is a Super Bowl caliber team. And in week 1, we start with the statement win over the Houston Texans. I don't care who is at under center for the Houston Texans. I don't care if they have an all-star team in the Houston Texans. I don't care. At the end of the day, it's still the Houston Texans. It is a road game, and to open up the road with the win and the season opener, this is the way you set the tone in the right way with the W. Week number 2, they keep the momentum running with a solid win over the Tennessee Titans. They're now 2-0, and folks are already starting to pay attention. But come week 3, there's a little bit of a reality check. They take a loss to the Philadelphia Eagles, and honestly, that is fair. The Phillies still has a powerhouse in the NFC and is a tough out for anybody. They do not revenge the playoff loss earlier back in 2025 playoffs. Then week number 4, they do get a bounce back win versus the Indianapolis Colts. Second-year quarterback, third-year quarterback, seventh-year quarterback, it doesn't matter. They have a shaky roster, and the Rams handle business. Come week 5, they take their first shot. They take their first division loss of the year to the San Francisco 49ers. That's always a tough matchup in week 6, and another tough one on the road against the Ravens, and yeah, that is yet another L. Lamar Jackson just doesn't lose to NFC teams for some reason. But then things start to turn around. They start to click. Things start rolling downhill, baby. In week number 7, they regroup and they beat the holy crap out of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, it is not a cakewalk, but the Sean McVay schemes up and right, and the Rams win going into the bye week in week 8 at a 4-3 record. And this is where the team takes off. Week 9, they beat the Saints. Week 10, yes, another loss to the San Francisco 49ers, but this is the last one they drop for the rest of the season. Week number 11, they bounce back to win over the Seahawks. Then they go on a heater. Week 12, win over the Bucks. Week 13, win over the Panthers. Week 14, win over the Arizona Cardinals. Week 15, they welcome Detroit Lions into town. This is the big one. This is the playoff caliber team that they're beating in December, and they whoop those candy asses. And then they finish out with week 16 with a win over the Seahawks again. Week 17, a win over the Falcons. And week 18, another win over the Arizona Cardinals. And that's the 8-1 run to finish out the season. This is elite football in December and January. They are an elite team. They are a Super Bowl caliber team. They are going to the moon, baby. So the final record for the LA Rams in 2025, way too early predictions for me. I have the LA Rams going 13-4. That's right, guys. You heard it right. 13 wins for the LA Rams. Now, I know this might sound wild to some of you, but here's the deal, guys. Matthew Stafford's still playing at a very, very high level. Devontae Adams and Puka are dangerous. Kyron Williams has fully emerged as a running back 1 and will be a top 5, if not a top 2 running back in the NFL this season. The offensive line is stable, and the young defense, it's fast, it's physical, and they're coming together at the right time. Here is my takeaway. If the Rams stay healthy and avoid the midseason slump that could crush them a couple years ago, this is a legit NFC contender. And if they get hot late, like the schedule suggests they do, nobody's going to want to face them in January. They are a Super Bowl team if this happens. But I want to hear from you guys. Is 13-4 crazy take, or are the Rams right there in Super Bowl caliber contention? Subscribe, guys. Hit the like button. And remember, guys, we're live every Monday through Friday at 9 p.m. East Coast time right here at youtube.com/man-hour. Guys, live interactive show. Drop your comments down below, like Old Man River just did. Rams 12-5. 12-5, baby. Let's do it. All right, guys, so that is a recap of the Rams season, sitting at 13-4, firmly in 5th place in the NFC playoff picture. Moving on to the 6th overall seed, that is the one and only Dallas Cowboys. Once again, this is a team that is much improved. This is a team that is going to potentially make some noise in the postseason. However, because of they are in such a tough division, 11-6 got them a wild card spot. So coming in at 6th place, guys, we do have the Dallas Cowboys sitting at 11-6. But let's recap and see how they got to this point. Dallas Cowboys, guys. The time for excuses for the Dallas Cowboys is officially over. As a new era begins in Dallas, Brian Schottenheimer is in, and the roster is loaded, baby. And expectations are sky high. But the question is simple. Will this finally be the year the Dallas Cowboys break through, or are we staring down the barrel of yet another 11-win season disappointment? Guys, let's break down the entire 2020-25 NFL season for the Dallas Cowboys way too early win-loss predictions. So, guys, weeks 1 through 4, I think the Dallas Cowboys come out swinging. I think they come out swinging. They pop some people in the mouth early, and they do it often. And they do it week 1, September 4th, Brian Schottenheimer's Dallas Cowboys debut. Guys, it is a statement. George Pickens goes off. CeeDee Lamb goes off. Dak Prescott might throw for 450-plus yards. Dallas Cowboys go into a hostile Philadelphia and stun the Eagles. It is a physical NFC East slugfest, and Parsons sets the tone. That offense does just enough to steal the deal, and it is a hands-down win for the Dallas Cowboys opening week. Guys, I told you guys this a couple weeks ago when the schedule first came out, that the Philadelphia Eagles did not want to play the Dallas Cowboys come week 1 because the Cowboys were going to wax that ass, and that's exactly what they do. Then you come down to week 2, the home opener for the Dallas Cowboys. The New York Giants are coming down to town, and this is yet another win. The home opener delivers fireworks, right? CeeDee Lamb finds the end zone twice, and the defense forces Russell Wilson into multiple mistakes, multiple turnovers. We might even see Jameis Winston in this game at this particular point. The Cowboys start 2-0 with back-to-back divisional wins. The sky is the limit. Everybody's looking positive. But then week 3 comes. They travel to Chicago, and they play the Chicago Bears. They play the Chicago Bears, and they get the first loss of the season. Chicago's defense steps up big time, and Caleb Williams outshines Dak Prescott in this one. The Cowboys fall flat in the second half, and a wake-up call early in the season that the Cowboys are not good enough to take the foot off the gas in the second half. Wake up, baby. You have to play a full 60 minutes each and every week. And then that's what they exactly do week 4. When they're back at home, it's payback time, and the Green Bay Packers come into town, and they wax that ass, baby. Now, after the recent playoff heartbreak a couple years ago, and then yet another loss last season, right? The Dallas Cowboys don't mess around. Jordan Love gets rattled, and the Cowboys front 7, and the home crowd erupts as the Dallas Cowboys move to 3-1 on the season. So, guys, to recap the first quarter of the season, 3-1 start for the Dallas Cowboys. Brian Schottenheimer and has the fans believing. The Cowboys own the NFC East early, and everybody's talking about a Super Bowl for the Dallas Cowboys after the 4 weeks of the season. And then weeks 5 through 9, they still build the process. They're still building that foundation, and they grind through the next few weeks. However, week 5 is tough. Week 5 is tough because they do travel to New York to take on the New York Football Jets and Justin Fields. Now, Justin Fields is under center now, and it's his legs, not his arms, that causes more problems for the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys defense struggles to contain his mobility, and the Jets run right at Micah Parsons over and over and over again. And I think the Jets pull the upset, air quotes, their upset win there, giving the Dallas Cowboys their second loss of the season. Then heading into week 6, they're back on the road to Carolina to take on the Panthers. Guys, Bryce Young still doesn't have what it needs to win these games. The Dallas Cowboys go into Carolina, and they dominate in the trenches and forces multiple turnovers. A get-right game on the road, exactly what they needed. Because as they come back home week number 7, they welcome a great team to town, and that is the Washington Commanders. Dan Quinn comes back to AT&T Stadium. It's not his house anymore, but Micah Parsons sacks Jaden Daniels twice. And the offense protects the ball. Brian Schottenheimer improves to 3-0 in the division with the win over the Washington Commanders. And then week number 8, they travel to Denver and win yet another tough road game. Sean Payton has the Denver Broncos back on track, but the Dallas Cowboys just too much on both sides of the ball. The Cowboys grind out a low-scoring win at Mile High Stadium. Now, heading into week 9, they are playing another really, really good team in the Arizona Cardinals, but this time at home. But this is a total mismatch. The Arizona Cardinals get overwhelmed by the Dallas Cowboys' speed and depth. Expect this one to be over by halftime, right? It is what it is. The Dallas Cowboys are going to wax the Arizona Cardinals' butts at the end of the day. So the Dallas Cowboys are rolling into the bye week. Week 10's a bye week at 7-2. Brian Schottenheimer's team is cooking, and the defense looks championship caliber. But this is where the season starts to tumble apart. This is where they go into the fire, and they do not come out the other side very peachy clean. So fresh out of the bye week, they travel to Las Vegas to take on the Las Vegas Raiders. Sloppy out of the bye, Vegas brings the heat, and the Dallas Cowboys cannot adjust. Penalties and turnovers leads to a frustrating road loss. It is just a tough game to watch in the particular game. It might be a 12-6 game at the end of the game. And then week number 12, the Philadelphia Eagles come into Arlington, Texas, but the Philadelphia Eagles flip the script from week 1. Hurts makes key plays late, and the Eagles even the series, and the division race starts to tighten up. And then week 13, it does not get any easier. Now the Cowboys are at home, but they do welcome the best team in the NFL, the Kansas City Chiefs, into town. Mahomes in November, December, January, it doesn't matter. He is a different beast. The Dallas tries to keep it close, but a late drive from the Chiefs steals yet another loss for the Dallas Cowboys moving forward. So the Dallas Cowboys do drop 3 straight games to fall to 7-5 on the season. A playoff spots are still within reach, but the pressure is mounting. They need to finish strong, and that's exactly what they do. I think weeks 14 through 18, the final push, as I want to call it, the Dallas Cowboys do finish strong. And they finish strong right off the bat, week 14, as they go into Detroit and they beat the Lions. A huge playoff implications here, and the Dallas Cowboys deliver. The defense swarms Jared Goff, and whoever the running back is for the Dallas Cowboys at this particular point, they control the clock and keep that Detroit Lions offense off of the field very, very shortly. And then week 15, they're back at home taking on the Minnesota Vikings, and J.J. McCarthy gets a rough welcome to AT&T Stadium. The Cowboys dominate the time of possession and pull away in the second half. Note here that I'm really relying on the running game. I think they start to control the clock a lot this last part of the season. Then week number 16, they welcome the Chargers into town. It is yet another win. Now, week 17, they do travel to Washington, D.C., and Dan Quinn does get his revenge. The Washington defense plays inspired with a few crucial mistakes, dooms the Dallas Cowboys late, giving them that loss. And then they do finish out strong at New York, beating the New York Football Giants, which they finished 11-6 on the season. Brian Schottenheimer's first year ends with momentum and a record of 4-2 in the NFC East, right? So, guys, here is the tally. 11-6 record, 4-2 in the division. Playoffs, very, very likely. But can Brian Schottenheimer win in January? That's been the biggest Dallas Cowboys downfall of them all. So, guys, is 11-6 a successful season for Brian Schottenheimer in year 1? Or will Cowboys Nation demand more? All right, guys, so the 6th seed is the Dallas Cowboys coming in at 11-6. And speaking of 11-6, that is who we have coming at the 7th seed as well, and that is the Washington Commanders. Guys, this is a 7th seed Washington Commanders team that is 11-6. Wrap your head around that. 11-6, and you are the 7th seed. This shows you how deep the NFC has gotten and how much parity is in the NFC moving forward for a very, very long time. But the 7th seed is the Commanders, and let's recap of how they got here. Let's go ahead and talk about those Washington Commanders. Let's talk about the shock of the world of 2025. The Commanders, guys, are no longer the NFL's afterthought. This team, led by defensive-minded head coach Dan Quinn, is in his 2nd year as a head coach and is ready to shake up the NFC East and put the league on high alert. A new identity, a new culture, Same fire. The question is, how far can they go in 2025? Guys, let's break down the entire 2025 season way too early as I give you the way too early win-loss prediction records. So strap in, Commanders Nation, raise hell, because it is going to be a wild ride. And right off the bat, guys, week number 1, they do start off strong. They're at home taking on the New York Football Giants as the Dan Quinn era enters in his second season. And guys, the Washington's reamped defense smothers the Giants, setting the tone for what is coming in for the long season. They're going to have very, very high hopes this season. But week 2, they travel to Green Bay, one of the best teams in the NFC. Early trip to Lambeau, not ideal. Jordan Love hits some big plays late, and the Commanders drop a close one, dropping them to 1-1 on the season. Now they are back at home versus the Las Vegas Raiders, and the Commanders take care of business. Jaden Daniels underneath center is going to manage that game very, very well, while that defense harasses the Vegas offense, because the Vegas offense is terrible. I don't care if it's Aiden O'Connell. I don't care if it's Geno Smith. I don't care if you sign Tom Brady. The Raiders are not going to be very good on the offensive side of the ball. And then come in week number 4, they travel to Atlanta as Dan Quinn returns to the Atlanta Falcons. He dials out the heat and confuses second-year quarterback Michael Pittman Jr., and the Commanders leave Georgia with yet another W. So, starting off the season 3-1, this team is ahead of schedule. This defense is top 10 material, and the offense is clean, efficient, and playing with purpose. Washington fans got a great feeling right now. They got a great feeling right now because it is time to get tested and gain more momentum as they head into week number 5 when they travel to LA to take on the Chargers. A tough road trip, but this team doesn't blink. The defense pressures the Justin Herbert all day long, and yet the Washington picks up another statement win in LA. Then back at home, week number 6, the Chicago Bears are back coming into Washington, D.C. for yet another year. You guys remember the Hail Mary from last season? The Hail Mary that basically catapulted the Commanders to up here and the Bears down here? We have a rematch, right? Now, we all understand that Caleb Williams versus Jaden Daniels is a must-see TV, right? Whoever the starting quarterback is at this particular point, it may not even be Caleb Williams. Let's just be honest. But the Commanders come out there and whoop the ass. They keep rolling. But then week number 7, they do travel to Arlington, Texas to take on the Dallas Cowboys with their first true test of the season. Brian Schottenheimer's new look Dallas offense takes big steps here, and the Commanders lose a hard-fight battle in Arlington, giving them their second loss of the season. And then week number 8, they're back on the road, this time to Arrowhead Stadium on Monday Night Football. Patrick Mahomes under the lights. Even with the much improved squad, guys, the Washington Commanders just cannot hang with the Kansas City Chiefs at home as they fall to 5-3. But then week number 9, they're back at home taking on the Seahawks. Sam Darnold and the Seahawks are frisky here, but Washington gets back to their identity and dominate the line of scrimmage, and they control the game, and Jaden Daniels goes off. We are talking about Jaden Daniels as the MVP after this game. So at the mid-season point here, guys, they are 6-3 record with tough losses to 2 Super Bowl caliber teams. But overall, the Commanders are exceeding expectations. Playoff conversations are becoming real yet again. But this is where the Commanders start to find their ceiling. This is when we realize that the Commanders are really not ready to break through to an elite NFC level team here, because week number 10, the Detroit Lions come into town and they embarrass the Commanders. Detroit comes in and plays bully ball. This feels kind of like a measuring stick that the Washington Commanders needed, and they realize that we are not an elite team yet. We have a lot of work to do. But then week number 11, they do travel to Miami, and they do damage to the Miami Dolphins. Of course, the Miami Dolphins are not very good, but they do take a huge win on the road in Miami. Heading into a week 12 bye week, and their week 13, they're back at home to take on the Denver Broncos. Now, the Broncos are back on track underneath Sean Payton, like we said, when they play the Dallas Cowboys. But the Washington holds it severe at home. They hold serve at home and dominate late in the fourth. So, moving into week 14, right now they're sitting at 8-4. With the bye week coming at the perfect time in week 12, the Washington enters in December and healthy and dialed in and ready for a full playoff push. And that's exactly what they do. Week 14, they travel to Minnesota and they beat down J.J. McCarthy and the Minnesota Vikings. Whether it's a retooled or a veteran under center, it doesn't matter, a.k.a. Aaron Rodgers. The Washington defense travels and they deliver and they shut down the Minnesota Vikings early and often in that Week 14 game. But then Week 15, they travel to New York. This is a trap game, a divisional game on the road, and the Giants want to play spoiler here. Hell, the Giants are actually competing for a playoff spot in this particular game, and the Washington slip up at the wrong time and they lose to the New York Giants. And then week number 16, they're back at home. Payback time is happening as they beat the Philadelphia Eagles at home. And then the Dallas Cowboys come to town as well, and they beat the Dallas Cowboys. And then a quote back-to-back games, which you play the same team twice in 3 weeks. This time they travel to Philly, and depending on seating and health, this could be a rest or starters type of situation. Either way, I think the Eagles take this one, and which gives the Commanders 11-6 record. 3-3 in the NFC East, guys. A Washington is officially back after this season, right? This team wins in the trenches, wins on defense, and wins late in the year. They split with both the Eagles and the Cowboys, both really, really good teams. They're dominant at home and are built to make noise in January. Guys, is this finally where the Washington Commanders break through and win the NFC East? Are they finally back on top? Can they finally make it to the NFC Championship game yet again? So, guys, be sure to hit the subscribe button, and we are live every Monday right at 9 p.m. East Coast time. But, guys, what are your thoughts? Are the Commanders back, and are they here to stay on top? That is my question. And John says no. All right, guys, so that is the 7-seed Washington Commanders. That's the recap of how they got to the 11-6 record. But it is time to dive into some wild card games. It is time to dive into the wild card games, and we're going to start right there up at the very top. We have the first wild card game. We have the 5th seed LA Rams taking on the 4th seed Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And guys, quite frankly, this is a matchup on paper. And it plays out that way on the field. The Rams are a 13-win team, and they're that way for a reason. The only reason why they're a wild card is because of the seeding and because of the way the playoffs work. It is what it is. Matthew Stafford is locked in. Sean McVay is calling elite plays. The defense is on top 9, and Devontae Adams is that X factor that we've been talking about all season long. Even after the roster turnover by losing Cooper Kupp, right? This is a fast, physical team. Meanwhile, the Bucs barely squeaked into the playoffs. Baker's been gritty and Mike Evans is still a beast, but at the end of the day, the team struggled with consistency. They won the South with the 9-8 record, and that says enough. So in this first wild card game, guys, I do have the Rams overwhelming the Tampa Bay Buccaneers early, and they never look back. The LA Rams do advance, beating the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the first wild card game. Now our next wild card game, we have the 6th seed, the Dallas Cowboys, traveling to Ford Stadium in Detroit to take on the 3 seed Detroit Lions. And this one is personal for Detroit. They have taken their lumps, and now they want blood throughout the season. Brian Schottenheimer might be running the show in Dallas, but the Lions team is built in the trenches. Physically on both sides of the ball and led by a quarterback, Jared Goff, who doesn't flinch in the moment. Dallas, look, they have the talent, but they haven't been reliable when the lights shine the brightest, a.k.a. the playoffs. And I don't trust that offense in a hostile Detroit playoff environment. Aiden Hutchinson is going to be in the backfield all day long. Grit wins it. The Lions take down the Dallas Cowboys. And giving us to our final wildcard matchup, the 7th seed Washington Commanders take on the 2 seed, the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, guys, this one is going to probably be the game of the weekend. This one is going to be a lot closer than many people think. Dan Quinn has his Commanders defense humming, and with the offense that doesn't make mistakes, they will hang around. But Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles have been there. They've done that. They've been here before. Their experience, their depth, and their offensive line dominant late. Guys, Washington hangs tough, making a nice 27-26 type of score, but they just do not have enough explosive playmakers to go toe-to-toe for 4 quarters with the Philadelphia Eagles in the playoffs. I think Jalen Hurts makes big throws when it counts, and I think the Eagles move on. So just to recap our wild card games, I do have the LA Rams taking down the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I do have the Detroit Lions getting revenge on the Dallas Cowboys from earlier loss this season, taking down the Cowboys, and then the Eagles win yet again over the Washington Commanders, moving them all into the divisional round. So when we look at the divisional round playoffs here, this is what is up. This is what's up next. Next up, we do have the Detroit Lions traveling to Philadelphia Eagles. It is a rematch of the regular season, and this time the Detroit Lions are ready. Dan Campbell has these boys believing, and this is where they break through, right? The Eagles will be favored. They will be rested, but the Detroit Lions will bring the fight. Jared Goff plays clean. The run game keeps Philly defense honest, and the defense forces a key turnover in the fourth quarter. On the bright side, they also stopped the tush push. So, guys, I think the Lions delivered their signature win of the Dan Campbell era, and the Detroit Lions pull off the upset in Philly, advancing them to the NFC playoff picture. Now, next up, we do have the LA Rams traveling to the San Francisco 49ers. Guys, one of the hardest things to do in the NFL is to beat a team 3 times. Simple as that. The hardest thing to do in any sport is to beat a team 3 times. And the San Francisco 49ers have already beaten the Rams twice this season to be in this particular position. One of the best rivalries in the NFC right now are the Rams taking on the 49ers. And while the 49ers have had the Rams number recently, this one feels like the reversal is about to happen. Matthew Stafford is surgical. Nuka and Devontae Adams just light it up. And Sean McVay finally cracks the Shanahan code yet again. And the LA Young's defense steps up to slow down Christian McCaffrey just enough. Brock Purdy struggles with pressure, and this is where the Rams make their championship statement. Guys, the LA Rams will end the San Francisco 49ers playoff run, and the LA Rams advance to the NFC championship game. So give us a quick recap. I do have the Lions beating the Eagles, traveling to Philly and beating the Eagles, and the Rams on the road beating the San Francisco 49ers, which gives us a NFC championship game that honestly we've been waiting for a very, very long time. The Detroit Lions not only make it back to the NFC championship game for the second time in 3 years, this is the first time that they're hosting one. And of course, it's Matthew Stafford versus his old team, Jared Goff versus his old team, all for the marbles, right? And this one writes itself. Right, guys, Matthew Stafford versus Detroit, Jared Goff versus the Rams. It is emotional, it's physical, and it's a heavyweight fight for all 4 quarters. But in the end, guys, I think the Rams have that veteran poise. The moment is just a little bit too big for Detroit this year, and the Rams hit a big play late with the Matthew Stafford to Devontae Adams, and the defense stops they needed, and they punched their ticket to the Super Bowl. I think the Rams win the NFC, and they are establishing themselves as a dominant force this season in 2025-2026 NFL season. But guys, this is the way too early NFC playoff picture. But what do you guys think? Have the Rams reestablished themselves as the NFC Kings? Are the Lions coming back even hungrier next season? Do you guys like my picks? Let me know in the comments down below, and we'll be back Thursday, live, raw, uncut NFL talk as we do break down the way too early Super Bowl predictions. But until then, guys, if this is Man Hour, this is Michael Buckheiser, and we are out.
Hey, now it's time to take off. Gotta keep it live and raw. Better stay tuned in. Man Hour, NFL talk. I know that you're ready for more. They on the field, ready for war. Who's in the lead? I'm checking the score. We about to do it like never before. NFL live, uncut, raw. This is Man Hour, NFL talk.